What's up, everybody? You're watching the Crucible Coachworks channel, and we're still on our final rush to get the slant nose done for April 30th. Now, in the beginning of this video, you saw I was fixing a couple of symmetry issues in the back side of the quarter panel. Well, we took a pause here because the wheels showed up. These are fixie wheels. They're custom 3-piece wheels that they made for us to fit our car. I think we should just go ahead and mount them up and see how they fit and make sure our fitment's good. I hope he's okay over there. All right, so we've gone ahead and mounted the wheels on the vehicle, and we compressed the suspension to check for clearancing and whatnot. Now on the front, I pulled the spring out because I could not compress it enough without the car lifting up to get it up to where we want it to be, which is about here. So there's a couple things that we need to address with the fitment. First off, this edge, I made a tape line here of what I want it to be, and I marked it with some Milwaukee ink Zol. And it'll show the radius, the curve basically that I want it to be for the wheel arch to look correct, because wheel arches are important. If they're not correct and they're a little wavy, it'll show. So I'll make sure that that is good. Also, this brake line here, we have some spots where this is a little in, this is a little out. I'm gonna address that as well and make sure everything fits well. And after that, I'll take the measurements off this, transfer it to the other side, do the same thing if I have to, but I think the other side's a little bit better. And then lastly, on the bumper, because this was a rough mold I had made a long time ago, I need to adjust this opening here because it was not correct. The radius was not correct. So we'll be glassing that and getting that correct as well. But that'll probably be in a later video. For right now, the goal is just to get the metalwork done, because this week I need to get this car in epoxy to keep on schedule. So when it's in epoxy, I will then address this and get this all finished out so that at the end it can all be painted at once. But I think the wheels fit great, and we also will be powder coating the wheel faces and leaving the lips polished. As of right now, that's the plan. We're literally, Tony's on the phone right now with the guys who are powder coating them for us and figuring some things out there. Now, you can go ahead and guess what color you think it is, but honestly, it's gonna be hard to guess because you don't know the color of the car yet either. So yeah, we think it's gonna look really good. Check it out. Our new taillights came in. Woo! See, they fit. Stay out with the old broken thing. Oh, which this one? So we went with like nothing too gaudy. We just wanted something clean that had a different style, more like 997 style. I think that they're gonna look pretty snazzy. They're a little on the darker side too, which is what we wanted. So I'm gonna just slip it in here and see if it fits, because it's always important when you're doing body work to make sure that you dry fit your parts, because you don't want to paint it and then have issues later. So let's slap it in here and see how it does. Very carefully. Yeah! Lined right up. Make sure both sides fit. You can't just do one, right? That's the rules. Can't just do one side.
Not when it's handmade.
What if I just dropped it right now? It's like, whoop! You have to adjust some gap issues, obviously, but yeah, buddy, that is gonna look good. Good night, sweet prince.
I tried calling. No, that's there are 2 more of them in there. You have 2 more?
Sure, yeah.
And then I can use that to use them also for whenever.
Perfect. Anybody got 2 points for the ferryman? We good? There's 4 faces and 4 caps. All right, off to get powder coated by Coachworks powder coating, right? That's the name, remember it?
Yep.
Bam. So I'm trying to come up with a game plan right now because there are just a million little things that need to happen to get this thing ready for epoxy. I mean, there's just a bunch of like edges that need addressed that I've left open until the day that we decided to, you know, put them in because of gaps and whatnot. You do a lot of the gapping at the end. So I'm just gonna be bouncing around and just trying to get things done in order that makes sense. So right now I'm literally just been staring at the car for 5 minutes, just trying to figure out what the best workflow would be that would be efficient. And it is mind-numbing. It is mind-numbing. Gross! I hate being covered in metal shavings. Which is half my job. The other half I like. I got 2 spots of slag on my ruler at exactly, what, 284 and 347. So those are permanently affixed on my ruler now. Neat. All right, so it's been a very busy past, what, 2 days now, Logan, since we started filming this video, I guess? End of the second day. I pulled a long day yesterday. I was here like, what, 14 hours? And today, not as long, but we're getting there. So, taillights, we have our taillights. I've fit them in. Need to do a little bit of adjustment there yet still, but I've been focusing mainly on getting these quarter panels finished up. There's a couple other things I picked out that I didn't like that I fixed. I've welded the undersides of these, well, the one side's welded up and cleaned up. I also, on the end over here, on this side, I did not like this profile on the edge of the quarter panel, I guess I call it. It's the space part here. I didn't like how it was, so I cut it out. I made a new section, welded that in. You can't even see that weld anymore, it's gone. There's a little bit there you can see, but not there. So the quarter panels are like 99% there now, which is really exciting because even this tub's now welded in. Oh, it's been a marathon. So we have, as of right now, how long do we have, Logan? 3.5 weeks? What's today's date? Today is today's the first, okay. Yeah, we have exactly 29 days. 29 days, so this car will be in a show field with people looking at it and going, is that fiberglass? So yeah, we have a lot of ground to cover now. So right now, my plan is to finish up the rest of the metalwork that needs to be done. It's a lot of little things. I'm still bouncing around. I'm going to be doing that for the next 48 hours. But at the end of this 48 hours, hopefully this will be in the paint booth being coated in epoxy. Now, the plan for that is to coat all the bare metal, so the quarter panels inside the tubs, underneath the tubs, the rockers, the fenders, and epoxy. That'll have to sit for about 24-ish hours, and then I can begin doing any kind of filler work needs to be done. And then after that's done, bring it up to spray poly, let that sit for like, supposed to let it sit about a week. So we'll see what we can do there. Every day I'll push it out in the sun and let it sit. And well, you do that basically so that the material can shrink in with the heat and the sun to any kind of sand marks or whatever. Sand, like when you sand something, the marks, it can kind of like shrink into that so that you don't have that show up like 2 months later. So yeah, there's a lot to go wrong and to get done at the same time in the next month, or 29 days, almost a month. Anyway, also we got the wheels, which is super exciting. The internet blew up over it, so that's also kind of cool. I'm glad that everybody seemed to like the wheels. Now, I'm not gonna say what color we are powder coating them, but I will, however, say that it's gonna look rad and it's gonna complement the colors that the vehicle is going to be. I spent a lot of time, and yesterday I spent a lot of time in making sure that this arch was very fluid and it actually fit the wheel. Thankfully, the other arch on the other side is already pretty much there. So when I get to that spot, it'll go pretty quickly. This took up a good chunk of my time. That's kind of the unfortunate part of, I made this fender probably what? On this side, I think I made this fender, I can't remember if I made this side recently or not. Either way, I made it without having a wheel, the wheel, and everything else. I also didn't have a buck, so I scratch made this, obviously. And you know, I just roughed in this edge knowing I'd have to go back and adjust it later once we knew the width of the wheel we wanted and everything else. So we're there now, and this is good now. So I'm excited for that. But there's a bunch of little things like down here. You can see there's a little hole here because I could not patch what I needed to patch with the fender on. So that's gonna come off when I epoxy it. So I'm gonna be pulling it off here. And then when I pull it off, I'll weld that. Also, a friend of ours is coming by to help with the CAD work. Now, the quarter panel intakes, some of you have asked what we're going to make the ductwork out of. So basically the idea is to 3D print, or at least 3D print the molds for an intake that'll go underneath the quarter panel. It'll be like this triangle shape, and then it'll flow into like a 2.5 or 3 inch diameter hole that we could then use that, like, you see that like race car ductwork that they use for like brake cooling or like a quarter panel cooling. It'll go through that, and then we can flex that to wherever we need it to go. To wherever coolers, wherever there are. Now, right now, there's no cooler involved in this vehicle, but eventually there will be, so we're gonna be ready for that. So for now, we're gonna have a friend of ours come by and help us with the CAD work for this, because I could do it myself, but I really don't have time right now because this needs to be painted. So we do have a 3D scanner. We'll scan it and to get measurements, and then he'll go and draw up the file for us, so then we can use our 3D printer, or multiple 3D printers rather, probably, and print out the piece to test fit it, and then eventually make a mold to then. What I'd like to do is make this intake part. You ever see like the chopped carbon fiber that they use like a press mold for? I'd really like to do that and have that be exposed. So that's the goal for that. And there's also other trim bits that need attention that will be 3D printed and or at least done in CAD up front by him as well. The headlight buckets themselves, they need to be functional and there for the show. I'd like that very much. And also the center grill here that's currently not mocked up right now. I'm sure you've seen the aluminum center grill that sits up here. It's not gonna be aluminum in the end, it's gonna be a composite of some sort. So we need to figure that out as well. So these are things that we're getting some help with to get it done in time. But we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, guys. Cheer us on because we need it, because I am tired. Logan's tired too. Logan has to get up before 9 now, so. Also, since I know many of you may be wondering, we do have multiple 3D printers that are at our disposal. We have the Sidewinder X2 that I recently got. In fact, if you guys are interested in your own, I have a code and discount code and a link I'll put down in the description below. I actually really like this machine. I was not sure how I would feel about it when I first got it, because it seemed like it was like a cheaper build quality, but there's a couple things I upgraded on it right off the bat, and actually I just finished doing that now. But like the plastic trim bits felt a little cheap, but the actual gantry and everything else seems pretty high quality. We did modify a little bit. I actually printed brackets to help keep it from flexing back and forth because there was a little bit of ringing, and also I bought some parts I just installed today and that I'm finishing up still. I put an upgraded fan on it. I put a micro Swiss nozzle on the bottom. I upgraded. The biggest thing that if you get one, I'd recommend doing, I got a Titan aluminum idler arm for the extruder because the original is plastic, and it's sitting over here somewhere in my pile of junk, and I lost it. Here it is. The original is plastic, and I would not trust it with my life. Now this is their upgraded model, and it probably is pretty decent. I've seen people say that theirs have not broken, but it's recommended to replace it, so I did that as well. And I also put in a bimetal heat break so that we could support some, more beefy filaments. Now we also have our Ender 6, which is unmodified. It was my first 3D printer I got actually. I really like it. I have used it a lot less over the past like 4 months or so since I've gotten this one, and I also have an Ender 3S1 that I love a lot, and it's currently sitting on my desk at home because I've been printing things at home as well for the shop and whatnot, so I can bounce back and forth. But yeah, this is our printing setup, which is a little rudimentary and also a mess right now, but this is what we're going to be using to prototype our ductwork for the slant nose and other parts once our friend is done with modeling them for us. And again, I do a lot more posting with the 3D printing stuff over on TikTok mainly, and also like Instagram stories, so those are already in the description below as well if you want to look at anything that I've done with that. I print a lot of dumb stuff all the time, but also useful things for the shop. Like, this is both dumb and useful. This guy is the lifeblood of this back room. He usually just kind of hangs out somewhere. It's okay. I'll just let you relax for now. One of the best things I've printed from the shop are these hangers right here. They are air tool hangers. I got them off Thingiverse. If you just look up air tool hangers, that comes up. They're air tool hangers, but they also they're not like straight air tool hangers. They have like these curves in them. You can just it locks in whatever you put on there, so I can roll around my cart and the tools won't fall off. I originally printed a bunch of different ones and they all fell off. So these are phenomenal. I will try to find the file for you, but if you just look it up, there's only a handful of them in Thingiverse and it'll come up. Also, another tool I recently printed is this edge, I don't know what to call it. It's like a edge retainer maybe, I don't know what to call it, but basically you can use it to pick an edge, mark it, and then you can drive your line. I'm gonna be using this when I do the finishing work on this to make sure our arches are perfect at the end. So I printed this out in advance. Pretty sweet to have a 3D printer that can do this. I usually have to buy this stuff from like Denfix or whatever, but now you can just print it and you know, it actually works, which is crazy to me. It's crazy you can just print something like this now. All right, so that's our video today, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and take a nap today. It's Saturday, take a nap. I can't take a nap today, so take one for me. And as always, we'll catch you guys later. See you Wednesday. Woo!